Music Matters. Mr. Josh P.
What's going on, Dante?
How you doing, man? Thanks for doing this.
Bro, I'm honored, bro.
Appreciate you coming down, man. Nice to officially meet you. I feel like I already know you because we've talked so much over the text and stuff, but we never actually met, man. Mm-hmm. How you feeling, dude? How's your trip been to LA so far? You said you've been here a couple days and you're staying for like 3-4 more?
Bro, literally just out here working, bro. Like, nice. It's been the most fast-paced thing. Yeah. It's been nothing but recording sessions. Bro, these are not my night. Like, bro, I'm usually in bed by the time I be like recording, bro. Like, we be recording to like 4 a.m., bro.
Yeah.
Like 8 p.m. to 4, so it's crazy, but I love the workflow, bro, for real.
Yeah, it's always strange, like going to a vacation going somewhere where you would go just normally as vacation, but you're going there with the intention to only work. Because you always want to have like, it's hard to strike that balance. Because like you're like, I want to be working, I want to be like disciplined when I'm down here, but at the same time, like you're off work, you're away from home, like you're on vacation type shit. So bro, it's hard to balance it. Yeah, it's
super different, bro. I got like I was telling you, I got like family up in Rancho Cucamonga, so like.
That's like east, right?
Yeah, that's like it's more that way. So like, even when I would go visit them, I was never like this immersed in music before. You know what I mean? So like now that I am, like I'm right in the heart of LA, or like I'm in Hollywood, and I'm like running up sessions or like networking with a ton of people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's crazy.
Those trips, I feel like when I was taking them before I lived here, bro, they just get so exhausting.
No, for sure.
Because like it feels like what I imagine touring would feel like. Because it's just like you're driving down and then you have shit to do that day, and then the same day you're like getting ready to go somewhere else, and then you're going somewhere else, and then you're falling asleep at like 5 a.m. and then you're waking up at like 12 because you want to be somewhere else. It's just like such a sprint. But bro, I also feel like those are the trips that definitely produced like a lot of growth for me. Like I feel like I met so many people that impacted my life on some of those really, really early LA trips I took. Have you lived in Sac your whole life?
Bro, yeah. Born and raised, bro. Yeah, I just got family out here and like family in the Bay Area too. So
we're in the Bay.
So like Hayward, Oakland, and like a little on the outskirts too, like Fairfield.
Nice.
That kind of stuff. So
gotcha. Yeah, Northern California is an incredibly different energy than it is here. Like it's
super different, bro.
There's like most cities I can go to, and I'm like, oh, this like kind of feels like San Francisco. There's like some similarities, but when I moved to LA, and even when I was coming here before, like it just doesn't feel like anything familiar to Northern California. I don't know, everything from like the smell to like the fog in the air and like the whole environment, it's so different, you know.
Smell crazy. Yeah, no, it's true though.
Yeah, it's strange. Do you think you want to stay in Sacramento long term? Would you ever come down here?
Living here, I'm like, I kind of been wrestling with it because I'm like, I feel like it would be efficient, like workflow wise, because I mean, I visit out here and I'm already like working every single day. Yeah. But I'm not sure. I think that's something to think about. I'd for sure get out of Sac though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just a certain period of time, like I love my hometown, but it's a certain period of time where you kind of experience everything. You met all the people you need to meet, and like in order to get to the next level, you gotta, you know what I'm saying, branch out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I certainly felt that way in the Bay Area. I feel like, and it can be conflicting because like I similarly have like so much love for where I'm from, and like I love it so much. Yeah, it's comfortable. It's definitely comfortable, but even outside of it being comfortable, it just like it's home. Like only one place is home, you know. Yeah. Like I always think about this in the same way that I think about parents. It's always like, or families rather, it's tough, but like, you know, even if you don't have a good relationship with your family, you only get one. Yeah. Like you only really get one blood family to try to figure it out with. I feel very similarly about a hometown. No, it's like I think you have to kind of like try to figure out the good in it and the beauty in it because you only get one. But I relate to you in that sense because I felt very boxed in, and I felt very like I don't know, I ran out of things to do there very fast. Yeah. So I feel like getting here helped me kind of branch out from that a lot.
Bro, I don't think you'll run out of things to do out here, bro.
There's like no way to.
Yeah. It's crazy, bro.
But it's interesting, too, because Sacramento hip-hop right now, it definitely feels like it's having a little bit of a moment.
I for think, sure, like, bro. What? There's so many, like, standouts and, like, so many different, like, sub-genres and everything meshing together. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, bro. It's like its own renaissance.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's what it feels like. And I think, like, honestly, when I kind of saw that happening, it was really refreshing because I feel like when I was like in high school and a little bit after high school, growing up in the Bay, there was a ton of like really, really, really cool like alternative rap coming from the Bay Area, like all kinds of more like opium type stuff, and then also like some more lyrical stuff. There was a lot of different things, and then I feel like, I don't know, I feel like in the past year, maybe 2 years, it's certainly slowed down a little bit in the underground.
Oh, yeah.
But I do feel like Sacramento's kind of like taking the reins in that way.
With that underground scene, yeah, like the even like the live music, like jazz.
Yeah.
Or like a band like the Lab Rats. Like they do a ton of like jazz stuff. They have this spot called the Torch Club that they run every Sunday.
Yeah.
Bro, it's crazy because it's such a spot for like artists to come network. Or there's this artist that bro, he's so fire. Bozzy Vibe. He actually stays out here. Super tough. He used to run these things called Vibe Withs. And like he used to run them like every couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
In Sacramento, he would literally come from LA to there to just run those.
Yeah, he would
like,
drive up.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
then like all these artists from like left and right, whether they from LA or even from Sac, they just all come. And it's like this open mic style, but like with a music backdrop type thing. So whatever they playing, you just got to get up there and rap. Like you just got to do what you need to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's where I got a lot of my experience from, bro.
Yeah, those were in Sacramento?
Yes, sir.
That's cool.
It was at this spot called Solomon's Diner.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you first find out about those? Did you meet a lot of people going to those?
Yeah.
And also when was that?
Bro, this was like Vibe With just stopped happening like in Sac. He still does it in LA, but like it stopped in Sac. I want to say like last year, like end of last year or something like that. But yeah, no, it was crazy. But yeah.
Do you feel like you got a lot of connections from those? And also like when you were doing those kind of open mic things, like where were you career-wise? Because I know, like, I mean, I was looking at your stats from this year versus the previous years. You had like a really big last year, and I'm sure that's been like incredibly gratifying. But like, what kind of opportunities in Sacramento do you think specifically presented themselves to kind of like give you this this big turning point in your career in the past year?
I think, to be honest, like I met a lot of people in the Sac field. I was just like really just working with what's around me. Yeah. And then like obviously like once I connected with like certain engineers, or because to be honest, I wasn't even recording in the studio till like late 2023. You know what I'm saying? I used to, you know what I'm saying, I take my phone and I take the Apple earbuds and just be you know, rapping in GarageBand, and then you know what I'm saying, and yeah, but I used to be doing that, but then like I met a couple of engineers, met some videographers, and really just put myself out there to just grind, like really like, you know, I would run up the Vibe Withs. Bro, it was to the point to where I would be trying to use a fake ID to get into like Torch Club, or like acting like I'm helping the band to get in, because I wasn't old enough to sneak in, bro. Like, so like, you know what I'm saying, all these clubs and stuff, I used to like literally just to rap, bro. Yeah. And I was like all of 2023, you know, I underwent a lot of like, oh, because you're young, you can't do this, or like people will look at me a certain way because like, oh, like I'm only 18 at the time, or like, you know, whatever. So I feel like I had a chip on my shoulder. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just insane. But yeah, like going into 2024, man, I just like, I literally, the whole 2024 thing to this started like literally with a prayer. Like I was working the security job that I hated, and like I was making good bread, but I was mad I couldn't really do much with it. Yeah, it's the worst. Yeah, like I was just like, all right, like I at the time I was worried about kicking it with friends, but I knew also I needed to work, like grind, like musically, and like I would get sessions here and there, but it would be super late, or like I'll be able to get a music video, but I just couldn't really do what I needed to do. But anyway, like.
Yeah, that can be really frustrating, especially when you know what it feels like to not have the money, and then you know eventually you get to the place where you're like, oh, like it's so nice that I'm making good money now.
Yeah, and
but
then
it's
you
like,
get comfortable.
At what cost, you know?
Just to not use it, or like just for me to like, okay, I make great
work 80 hours a week. Yeah,
great 401k type guy.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like it was just So
what do you so like when you kind of were like following all those breadcrumbs and stuff, like in Sacramento, I mean, this is me projecting a little bit because I certainly feel like I did a very similar thing around that time period where like Dude, I was just like, I would go to any show that I possibly could in the Bay Area. I would talk to anybody that I possibly could. And it was like from those people, you kind of like pick up on breadcrumbs, and then you start to follow the patterns, and you realize like, oh, this person's connected to this person, and like, they do these things, and you kind of just eventually show up, you know? I think that's like a really good piece of advice for younger artists, for sure. It's
You'll
just
start
like,
to see the circles are really smaller than what you think.
Yeah.
Like they look big because you're on the outside looking in, but like once you like get into it, bro, like once you start leaning into like what you want to do, you'll see like everybody knows everybody. Like, for sure.
Who in the early days did you meet in Sacramento that kind of allowed you to like get into more of a musical community? Like who were some of the first producers you were meeting and other artists that kind of allowed you to begin surrounding yourself with the correct people?
To be honest, it actually went back to my guy Flo and my guy Taekwon, bro.
High Life Flow?
Huh?
High Life Flow?
No. Some different dudes. But they had this brand called Ilko Flow, and like they picked me up, bro. I was in high school trying to rap, bro. Nice. And like they had this studio session type thing, like the studio class. Bro, that's where I met like all the people that kind of like helped me propel to where I'm at. Like it was my first time recording in the studio. It's my first time meeting a videographer, filming a music video. I made a song called Shameless. My voice was so like just like squeaky and just like just unserious. But
how old were you?
Like I want to say 16, 17.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, bro, like with those people, once I met them, then I started to realize, oh, like there's actually rappers in the city, whatever. Then that's when I started to like, okay, go out. So another pivotal point where I met this guy named Dre T. He run these almost like intimate jazz events every month called Out the Way on J in Sac. And like they sell out every time. He's really dope, great guy. But also I met this guy named A&K, and like he runs like food events and also like artist events. He was kind of like a Sacramento like A&R.
Gotcha.
And he connected me with other artists like there's like my homie like Jakari Smith or like a bunch of other people, and then that's when everything else just started to like unfold.
So you were really out there like meeting a bunch of people,
bro. Yeah, because again, I had a chip on my shoulder. I felt like I had stuff to prove. I for sure had an ego. I will say that, and that's a lot for someone with nothing. You know what I mean? Like I had a lot of ego for someone that had nothing going from.
Yeah.
But I just thought I was in. Like I was like, bro, like y'all go. You know what I mean? So. Yeah.
It's interesting. I actually feel like it's easier to have ego sometimes when you have nothing versus everything. I think most of the people who rise to like, you know, not to say that either of us are this, but like people who rise to like really great successes, I think very often they've been through so much to get there.
Yeah.
Like it's taken them so long that they've gathered enough perspective to where it's like it'd be very hard to have an ego. Whereas I feel like when you're, you know, maybe haven't grown as much and are newer in this, you lack perspective. And I think when you lack the perspective, it can be very easy to have that ego and kind of just walk around like, oh, like, yeah, I'm him, you know, but you really did nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people I've met very often will, like, blame the place that they're from, like, make that the reason for them not finding any bit of success.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
and I always try to encourage people to really get out there in their localized community, and before you, like, try to like grow something online or grow something in LA or grow something in New York or whatever, really tap in like your localized community and find out like who's doing it around you. Because I don't care where you're from, like there are people in your localized community doing this, whether you're in like a very small town in the Midwest, like, you know, or you got to drive an hour somewhere to find it, but like at least relatively close within driving distance to most people in America, I do feel like there is some sort of scene, some sort of localized community you can tap in with.
Bro, speaking from experience, I used to be the person making excuse after excuse after excuse. I would be seeing people that like are my age or even younger, like popping off or they're doing whatever, and I'm like, bro, like, why am I not that? Or like, why am I whatever? Bro, I'm telling you, like, if you want it that bad, you're gonna find a way, bro. Like you said about the localized community, bro, the people around you, you're gonna find people that are videographers that you just never knew. They might not even have a social media presence. That's what happened with me. I found people that like they got like 500 followers,
but they're crazy.
Yeah, but they're like, bro, but it was what I like. It's working with what you have until you could level up into something else. Like humble beginnings matter, bro. Like never skip over something because like. Don't skip no steps, really. That's what I really learned, bro. Like, you could want something really bad, but you also might not be as prepared as you think you are. You know what I mean? So I think it's super important to, like, Work with people that's on your level. Work with people around you. Don't be afraid to ask questions too, because with ego, bro, it used to kill me so bad, because I used to just like sit there and think an opportunity would come to me by just sitting there with my mouth shut.
Yeah.
And like it was just the cliche, like, you know, closed mouths don't get fed. Yeah. So I'm like, you gotta be annoying. Like you gotta be like, hey bro, like, oh, when you going to the studio? Hey, like DMing people. Yeah. It's a lot, bro. But yeah, I learned a lot with that, bro.
I think you really, really quickly have to understand that like you're going to be, like, in order to be successful in this, unfortunately, a big part of it is like putting yourself out there to such an obnoxious degree that like you are vulnerable. Like you will be vulnerable.
And like, the right people will respect it. 100%. They'll see it, bro. And like, God willing, you might get the opportunity you're looking for. You know what I mean? So yeah. But like, I think you very early have to get over yourself. I think like very, very quickly you got to get to a place where like you're comfortable enough to like allow people to make fun of you, to ridicule you, and like you be okay with it. Bro, it always starts off corny, bro. Yeah. Like you just have to accept is like, even if you're starting a song, a film, anything, if it starts off bad, it starts off bad. I very rarely hear people that like have an amazing first try. Yeah. Like you just have to accept it's gonna be bad, but you have to fall in love with progress, bro.
100%. That's huge. I think you have to fall in love with progress, and you also have to fall in love with the process of it. Like I think it's really important to like not only love like the way that you're growing, but love the day to day. Like I think that is how you maintain longevity in this. It's like getting to a place where like what makes you happy within it is the progress, right? Yeah. It is that like the actual creation. It's not the results. I think the second you get married to results, you're playing a very fickle game, because like those can come and go, and they always will. But if you're not catering like your love of it to the actual art, I think it's really easy to get burnt out in this, you know?
Oh yeah.
That respect that you were talking about locally, when did you kind of see that mindset and outsider switch for you? Like, when did people kind of stop viewing you as like, you know, that's Josh, and start viewing you as like, that's Josh the rapper, you know? Like
when do you think that started to shift?
Take you seriously, yeah.
To be honest, it wasn't until I took me seriously. So like 2024, to be honest, was when 2023, I felt like I was taking myself seriously, but like I was in some very unserious situations.
Of course.
And not even just musically, like everything around me was just a lot of unseriousness. Yeah. And I feel like I'm a pretty lighthearted guy. I feel like I'm also very unserious, but like meaning just like in the manner I'm handling situations and, you know, dealing with things, super unserious. But yeah, 2024, bro, like once I started, like I had like 1,000 followers, like 1,400, 500 followers, and like I was trying to move like I had like 20K. You know what I mean? Like I started taking myself like, nah, bro, I'm Josh P. You know what I mean? Like people gonna see Josh P and be like, oh, Josh P posted, or like, oh, he dropped. Doing things to make people care. You know what I mean? So that 2024, in short, that's when it really started to like, people are like, oh, Josh P. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You really have to, I think, like you kind of got to believe it before. Like if you want anybody else to believe it, you have to be the first one to believe it.
You literally got to be convinced of yourself. Like not like glazing yourself, but like, you know, believe your own hype in a way. You know what I mean? Like not being fully yourself, but just in the fact of like, you're so confident in what you're doing that you don't care what kind of reaction or whatever you're going to get, because you know you're getting somewhere with it. Like you have a set course in mind. You know what I mean?
You have to live it. You have to genuinely live this. Like I remember like growing up, everything that I'm doing now felt so far out of reach, and it felt so impossible. Yeah. And then I always would overcomplicate these things in my head. Like for example, a big one for this was throwing shows. Like before I ever threw a show, in my brain, for whatever reason, I just perceived it as the most like complicated and difficult thing ever. Like I was like, damn, you probably got to do so much to throw a concert. And then I did it, and I realized, damn, this is literally just a series of like phone calls and text messages. Yeah, that's like really all this is. So it's interesting, like the further you get into these things, you realize too, like they aren't that complicated. Like things are genuinely a lot easier to understand than you may think. You're just on the outside looking in, and you kind of got to force your way inside sometimes, because I don't think there's like I think you have to fail from the inside to figure it out.
100%. Yeah.
You know, what do you when you kind of think about that period of time when you began to take things like really, really seriously, what was like the reaction from some of the community around you, like the friends you had, the people within music, your family? Did they kind of see you switching into this mode where like you really were taking yourself way more seriously as a musician, and they began to kind of view you in the same light?
Yeah, it took some winning over. It took a lot of like, I don't know. People started to slowly talk to me differently too. Started to treat me differently. Because also, I mean, admittedly, I was also treating music like it was a hobby. You know what I mean? And, you know, like a lot of people that are like so focused on, you know, and I think it's great, like having a very stable, appreciate you, very like stable lifestyle. Like, okay, you get a family, you get a house, you know, work a stable job, you know, the American dream type thing. They have that very set mindset of like, that's all there is. So like, I think that's the hardest crowd to win over, like, you know, the older generation and stuff like that. But once you take them seriously and like, say for example, like with my parents, I took my mom to like my first full scale show in like LA, and like I was performing with like Miles Minnick, Tommy Zuko, CJ Emulus. There was no openers. It was
that
just
the Observatory one?
Yes, the Observatory. At that time,
love that venue,
bro.
One of my favorites.
That was one of the like literally biggest crowd. Like that was like at that time like the biggest crowd, and like I told my mom to come with me because she hasn't really seen me perform until that time. After that, I feel like the whole narrative switched. Like she was just like, oh, like he's actually like for real, like trying to do this. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
like he's my son, but he's also a musician.
Yeah, and I'm not just trying, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I hate when like people's like. When people talk about something, they put the little word behind it, like, "Oh, that's your little friends," or like, "Oh, the little rapper you like." Oh, the little music ain't nothing little about it.
How's that little music thing going,
bro? It's like a belittling thing. Can't let that get to you, bro. Because it's like, bro, you're not trying, you're not lil nothing. Like this is what you're doing.
This
you know
is you. Yeah, you really have to believe it. I think that's like the biggest thing. It's interesting. I had a pretty similar experience with my parents, and they always, you know, were very supportive and they tried to understand it. But I mean, I think what I do is very hard to explain to like to like chefs in their 50s. My parents were both chefs. Like very hard thing to explain to them. Like, I'm running a music media and events company. But like I feel like the moment my mom kind of like really understood for the first time was she came to the first show that we ever threw. Oh wow. And it's just everything kind of changes because it's like our perception of it is through the internet, and to our, you know, in our 20s, like that makes sense in our brains. But so I think our parents' ages, they need to see it in person. And I think like when my mom saw that first sold out show, she was like, oh, like now I understand like what's possible here, how this makes money, how that kind of like, I definitely saw it like shift in her brain, and she began to perceive it in a different way. Not that she wasn't perceiving it good prior to that point, but I think she just like understood it more thoroughly, you know?
100%, yeah.
Do you feel like Sacramento, because you were talking about like how a lot of people generally who exist in that sort of like 9 to 5 like small town mindset, sometimes it can be difficult for them to understand the music stuff. How did you feel about kind of the community you grew up in Sacramento? Like, did you feel like a lot of people within that were like kind of on a, because I mean Sacramento is pretty suburban, where like the majority of it is like there's like a ton of houses, a ton of apartments. Like a lot of people live in Sacramento.
Yeah, and a lot of people are moving there too.
Yeah, but my perception's never been that there's like a ton of industry there. It's always just like it's like a huge city where a lot of people live. Yeah. Kind of growing up, you know what I mean? Yeah, like kind of growing up within it. Do you feel like you were around like a lot of that energy, like a lot of people who weren't really like more familiar with some of the stuff that you were trying to do? How did you kind of like begin to branch out of that?
Yeah, so like everybody I was around for the most part, like nobody was really trying to do music at all. I didn't even know I was really like, most I was thinking about doing was like drumming, because I was playing drums since I was 2. I grew up in church. My pop's a pastor.
Were you playing like gospel stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. Nice. Like I'll be playing in church, you know what I mean? So
those are all the best drummers, bro. Oh yeah, all the best drummers I know grew up either in the church or playing jazz.
Bro, the rhythm. Yeah, I had an appreciation for all music, but I'd be doing that and stuff like that. But I never was around like people that are like, bro, I want to do music, until like I got older, to be honest. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think that's a really great description. Like, Sac is a big city where a lot of people live. Yeah. I think it's trying to adapt that industry aspect. Where like, you know, I'm starting to see like venues starting to open up or whatever.
The rink is like new, right?
Oh yeah, the rink is, bro.
It's been there for like a year.
It's getting ran through. I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know, the rink, bro. Bro, we just actually had my first show with this artist named Mission at the Rink, bro. Bro, I co-headlined with him. Insane, bro. He packed that thing out.
Nice.
It's crazy, but yeah, like the Rink been having people like LaRussell and like Hovey, a ton of other people.
Dude, I saw that. I
bro.
Was like,
yeah. So it's like it's becoming a new thing and a bunch of other stuff opening. But like the narrative for Sac is completely different from like an LA because people think LA, people think industry.
Yes.
People think like Hollywood, celebrities, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Like Devil's Playground. You know, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Whereas, like, I think, Sacramento is far more just like when I think of Sacramento,
it's way more chill.
Yeah, there isn't like an industry that comes to my mind. All that comes to my mind is like the people that I know from there.
And there's definitely sectors out there, like I said, like there's things bubbling. There's like things tucked off. Like it's not as blatant as in LA.
Sure.
So there is something there. It's just the reputation is different for sure.
It also feels like there's more happening there now than there ever has been.
Oh,
at least
bro.
at least in like the rap part of things, for
bro,
sure.
Even in the past, I want to say 5 years has been different. Like what? It's drastically changed.
Let me ask you, like growing up there, I'm sure your perspective on it is very different than mine, but I didn't know it. Like, I mean, I've been like actively involved in Northern California music since I was like 17 years old, and like in the past year or 2 years is the only time where I've really found like, like there seems to be a lot bubbling out of Sacramento right now. Do you feel similarly?
I agree. I talk about this with my homies all the time. I was like, bro, I was unaware of this. This was not a thing. You would, bro. I'll be on Instagram. To be honest, you know about Thizzler? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like that was the most I would see of anything.
We've talked way too much about this.
Yeah, so podcast. Like the EBK J-Bos, the EBK back note, the DB battle bags, that sector of rap was the only thing that really anybody in Sac or Stockton, Bay Area, anything adjacent to that cared about.
100%.
So
100%.
once that era of like music like faded out, because to be real, nobody like. Nobody is really as like keeping up with that at the same time anymore. So yeah, like once that like, all right, like people's focus kind of shifted, bro. Yeah. Like I feel like in the last, I want to say 3 years, 3 years, it's been completely different musically. Totally. I feel like I see way more artists like independent and like or coming out of Sac and they're signed to some or something like where they're like there's moves being made and it's drawing attention to the city. Yeah. So it's completely different and I mean it's refreshing because again like I mean the Thizzler rappers and like all that was like that was the only thing that was really like the talk. You know what I mean? Like
it was strange. I always point to like the kind of that era of like 2016
bro.
To like 2019 maybe. Yeah. I always call it like post hyphy.
Oh, for sure.
That's like what it felt like to me. It felt like, I mean, no disrespect to any of like the like Sugar and Conies of the world or like like the About a Bag or
shout out the guys.
Any of like those type of people, but like that or even like SOB or like any of that stuff from the Bay.
Bro, SOB was like cracking the 80s, bro, for us. What?
True, bro. But like I feel like so much of that music was trying to hold on to an energy that kind of died within the hyphy movement in Northern California.
And it was a modernized version of it. And it was our version. But
it was our version of it. But I think like Thizzler was like almost almost exclusively born out of that kind of music, and I think it had a ceiling, and I think it hit its ceiling like relatively fast. And I don't necessarily think it was a good thing for Northern California because I feel like it kind of like boxed us into one pocket in terms of rap music.
The sound, bro. Oh my God, I'm sorry, bro. Like
it's very
the laser beats, like bro. Oh my goodness, I can't stand it, bro. I'm sorry. Like I can't like it's only so much but until then like I'm like all right like I feel like I would see so many like it's cool when these individuals do it but then once I saw that everybody started I was like all right bro like let's wrap it up like all right let's try to develop the sound more, you know what I mean, because there's more to us than that, you know what I mean. Like
I feel like things are changing from the top down right now as well, like I don't think you have all the like I mean just talking about Sacramento, right, like I don't think you have like the Sleepy Cheese or like the Akas or like the Tailmans or like you or like Euthanasia or James Drop Top or any of these artists right now, they're like really doing it. If like from the top down you don't have like, or even in the Bay, right, whether it's like Dream Awake or like Xanabis or like any of these dope artists from the Bay Area right now, I don't think you have like any of those things that, you know, are all those things that I just named are very alternative in their own ways.
Yeah.
None of those things are like pretty, you know, none of those things are mainstream hip hop. But I don't think you have that unless you have people like Larry June and La Russell at the top,
for sure.
like really do like bringing a new kind of alternative sound to the Bay Area. Like I think it was more of an ethos thing is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't like one rapper came in and changed the sound. It was like a couple different rappers.
It's a build-up.
Yeah, I mean it was like a couple different rappers came in, all with different sounds. And then they kind of brought that post-hyphy wave to an end where people began to embrace like culture. Alternative things, you know? Which I think is really sick.
100%. I love what Larry June's doing. I love what La Russell's doing, especially like pushing that like that independent aspect and like that get it on your own and how you can maximize your income and everything off of what you already do. I think that narrative is what's needed the most for sure.
Yeah, bro, I entirely agree with you. I know like there's a ton of like, I mean, we've been talking about a bunch of different like secular artists that are within the kind of Sacramento, Northern California sphere. Did you kind of, when you began taking this more seriously, were you around a lot of other Christian artists, or did you kind of have to like find that community after you kind of found a little bit of buzz in this?
To be honest, I like all I knew was the secular. I didn't really start getting around Christian artists until like later. And like at the time, like my knowledge of Christian artists was very limited because again, that's all I knew. You know what I mean? All I knew was secular artists. I was making secular music. You know what I mean? And I honestly, I feel like I'm in a spot where I have the best of both worlds. Where I feel like I'm able to pull on those and like the Christian artists. But yeah. In short, definitely started to find a lot of like Christian artists like way later, like even like as of recent, like. Shout out Sheezy, shout out Lil Dre Day, Mikey So Christian, Miles, Tommy, CJ, a couple other people. Like it's been a lot of like I as I started to branch out more with like the Christian like adjacent stuff, I feel like that's when I started to attract more like also like, oh, like there's a Christian artist over here and this one over here, and I still have my community of also secular artists as well because.
Yeah, that's really sick. I think like positioning yourself in the middle of those two things is definitely a very productive stance to have, because I feel like you said, you can kind of pull the best from both worlds. You know, it's like there's no reason to only be on one side of it.
And that's my goal with the music, to be honest. Me and my manager were talking, and we were just talking about like the goal with my music, the way I package it, the way it is, the way it sounds, the way it is. Like in church, right? Like. The word of God is meant to reach the lost, right? It's meant to reach people that don't know him. Either they have no idea who he is, or maybe they do have an idea, but they're not interested or whatever. It's literally meant to reach those people. It's not meant for, it's for Christians only. Yeah. Because what is it reaching? Who's learning anything? You know what I mean? Like you're just recycling info. So like I take that very seriously, which is why I'm super intentional with even like features or like people I work with in the studio, you know, producers. All the producers I work with are secular. They are like, because I just now started to like know a couple Christian producers. Shout out Sam, but like all my producers I know are secular, and like I'm rubbing shoulders with all these people because this is what I know. But also too, like I have a heart for people. These are people that I'm like I want to reach. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
that's really cool. Like I think it could be really easy to turn the other cheek and like not have that kind of accepting mindset, you know. But I think it's really important to kind of like bridge that gap. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's a massive Christian hip hop fan base out there right now to be captured. I feel like the
Christian
genre
music
feels
is
like
becoming
it's growing.
a thing, bro. It's like I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because of the Diddy thing. I don't know, but like, bro, literally like the last year. Like, or even 2 years, but really last year has been crazy. Shout out Hovey. I pulled up to his show at Ace of Spades. The entire shout out No Big Deal too. The whole thing sold out. Like Ace of Spades was just gone. You know what I mean? I like my boy Caleb Gordon had a show in Berkeley at the Cornerstone, packed. Like it's like, or like even the show I did with Mission, packed. It's like I don't know what it is, but it's like a new hunger there. And it's like a new interest. And also too, like Christian music has evolved, bro. Christian music was like, I mean, like people would hear the term Christian music and be like, all right, bro, corny. Like, you know what I mean? Rightfully so, because a lot of it was.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was. But if it wasn't for like pioneers like Lecrae, you know what I mean? Like that really changed that narrative. And then like nowadays, bro, it's like it's palatable now. Like it's listenable now. So
that's a really good way to put it. Palatable, I think, is a great term, because like that's certainly what I feel like your music is. Like I think your music has like very religious messaging in it, but at the same time, like it doesn't sound like gospel music. You know, like you very.
I'm not trying to preach your ear off, and on top of that too. At like the heart of it, I'm also a fan of music, bro. So I'm gonna like try to pull on influences. I'm gonna pull genres that I like. I'm still a fan, like that. Just because I believe in God doesn't change, like, you know, I love this type of music. I love, you know what I mean? So
yeah, the whole label of it's strange too, because like we say, you know, Christian rapper, we say like.
But there's also just if it's an objectively good song, it's a good song.
Yeah. Also, like there are a ton of rappers who like are very religious that we probably just aren't aware of their religion because it's not like a centralized theme in their music.
Yeah.
Like, are they not Christian rappers, or are they Christian? It's a strange thing to kind of like label it, because at the end of the day, it really just is like another concept, another topic about your life.
Yeah.
It's just like another thing you're writing about, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like, it's always been strange to me that we like label it so specifically. It's like, this is like a Christian rapper.
It's almost like a box. That's like attempted to box you in, but it's funny you say that. I look at it that same way. I'm like, I literally, I feel like this is the best music I've ever made. This is the most Josh P music I've ever made. Cool. It sounds the most like me. And also, I'm still able to talk about everything that I want to talk about, and adding like my spirituality, like my relationship with God, all that, like into my music is another aspect of my life. It's an important aspect. You know what I mean? So it's really like, it's all music, man. If it's good music, call it a spade a spade. It's great music.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's really cool that you feel like you're making your best music now. Like, what do you think? What do you think have been the biggest changes that allowed you to get there? Like, was it a mindset thing? Was it a practice thing? Was it a people in the room thing? Like, what do you think has changed in recent months? Because I assume you're talking like post EP stuff. You feel like you're making the best stuff you made right now, or the stuff in the EP and before it?
From 2024 on up.
Gotcha.
I'm saying ever since I really dedicated my music to God. So like, to answer your question, like, I'll check all of the above. Like, it's just, you know, it's the people I've been around. It's a mindset thing. It's a spirituality thing. It's my interest in me, you know, really getting out there type thing. My, you know, paradigm shifts, all that. It's everything. Yeah.
And I feel like when the stars align too, like things open up in ways that you could have never thought they would before. Like I feel like I've had so many instances where like, I met somebody, and like because I met that person, I met this other person, and this person gave me like a massive opportunity, and it all just came because I talked to one person one time at some random thing. And then you think back to like, wow, what if I didn't go to that? The butterfly effect's like a really strange thing, but I think it's a very, very good testament to just being out there every single day.
100%.
I think you just gotta like be outside and just like clock in. You just got to do it.
You just gotta
you
work.
know, you got to like put yourself in the room, and like whatever happens. Yeah, that's really sick. What do you think? Like I know you said you've been making the best music of your career, post 2024. Do you think your spirituality changed as you kind of began to develop a new sound and like work more into this world of trying to merge secular and Christian music? And then how has it kind of affected your outlook on spirituality? Has it changed anything for you?
It for sure changed, because I don't look at it as just music anymore. I know it's kind of, you got a tissue.
Oh, I don't think I do. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Mario, do you think you could put it on the wide angle and grab paper towels real quick?
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Where are they?
Oh, wait. Do we have paper towels? Or just like tissue paper, maybe?
Even
like toilet paper
like
vibe. Thanks, bro. Yeah, it was killing me too.
Yeah, I was like, my nose is starting to run.
Yeah, go ahead though. What were you saying?
It's definitely changed, because like I don't look at it as just music anymore. Like I just I feel like music is frequencies. There's a spirit behind everything. There's a place behind everything, like where you recorded it from. You know what I mean? I mean, because think about it, bro. Like when you listen to music, like a sad song, right? And say you're sad, it helps fuel that. Like it helps, like, wow, like, okay, this breakup song, it's a soundtrack to that moment. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, a happy song. You know what I mean? Like a very on the nose example is like Pharrell's Happy. It's a very upbeat, everything is great type song. So like I look at everything as like this is like serious. So it's like if I'm not in the right place spiritually, it's not gonna translate well either. So I'm super protective of that for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've always felt like even your energy on a day-to-day basis, right? Like the way that you're feeling that very specific day that you go into the studio.
Yeah.
Even that changes the sound of the music, bro.
100%.
Like I feel like you need to it's always audible, I think, when like either a producer and a songwriter or like an artist and a producer.
You could tell when someone's going through something, bro. Or like you could tell when life is good. And also too, a lot of times I write music as reminders to myself. Like even before it gets out there, a lot of times I write music out of my subconscious of like, God, this is how I'm feeling. And then like it'll come out as a song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it matters. Ever since I have leaned into this, like spiritually, like it's just I don't take it lightly. Like it's not just like, oh, it's just a song. Like there's certain songs, like if I'm just like freestyling and just rapping for fun, there's not it's not even having a real concept, but just whatever. It's like, all right, like it's cool. Like, but bro, like when I'm like trying to put out records, intentionality is so important to me.
Yeah, dude. I mean that's kind of like a prime example of doing it for yourself first, which is something that I think is incredibly important that a lot of artists don't do. It's like you really need to like master wanting to do this for yourself before you can expect to have anybody else enjoy your music.
100%.
Like, you know, because you just brought up how like a lot of the times. Oh, excuse me. A lot of the times your songs are reminders to yourself. I think they have to be.
Yeah.
I think you need to be the first person in your mind when you're writing.
Yeah.
You need to be thinking about, what do I need to hear right now? What do I need to get out right now? Like, what do I need to like vent about on this song? You know, in terms of like your spirituality, it's like, what do I want to say to, you know, about my spirituality? Like, what do I want to say about God? I think like everybody has their own version of that. And I think the further and further you get away from presenting the most authentic version of yourself, the less successful your music is going to be.
Yeah.
Ironically, people, and I think the music industry at large, often cater a lot of like what they're doing, whether it's their sound or the production or the output or whatever. They cater it towards like what they think is trending in the music industry. They cater it towards like what they think will bring them numerics and analytics. And ironically, I think people sniff that shit out. I think like it's the easiest thing to tell.
You can tell when something is so plug and play or something so like corporate, bro.
Yeah.
What they say, coworker music.
Coworker music, yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm getting sick, man, bro.
Dude, I feel it.
Virus.
These long trips, man.
Just kidding, y'all. I don't have corona.
I want to ask you, what do you? Because I was interested in this because I've talked to a few other Christian artists, but I feel like I don't know a ton about that world, and I'm very fascinated by it. If you had to like pinpoint a couple things, what do you think are like the biggest misconceptions with Christian hip hop at the moment? Like the way the outsider views it versus how you view it from the inside. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions?
Biggest misconception? That's a great one. And again, I think this is a valid like opinion, but like a lot of people would say it's preachy or whatever. But I think I have a rebuttal with that too. I feel like, okay, if let's just say, I don't know, Future, right? Let's just talk about Future. Bro, we'll talk about drugs, sex, perks, lean, whatever, right? So like whatever.
All the good stuff.
All the right. Right.
Yeah.
So like, right. So that's what's being portrayed. Dark, trap heavy, 808s, whatever the case may be. Right. So like he's like literally. So I look at music as like legal brainwashing, basically. That's the term I coined it as, because it's like it fuels it. It's like the soundtrack to your moments. It also in a way almost in a way kind of like helps you try to relate or like you know what I'm saying? Feel in sync with the artist, escape, all types of stuff. But anyway, so he's able to preach that to you. He's preaching this narrative to you. Like he's 100% pushing this to you. I feel like the narrative that like all Christian music is like super preachy. I feel like it's a little hypocritical, because I'm like, with secular music, they're literally preaching this stuff to you. Like it's no different. Like preaching is like just essentially, I'm telling you this is what I'm trying to get across. Do lean, do perks, do this. I just had 2 girls last night. I did this. This is what's being pushed. It's a narrative, right? So it's like, if we're pushing the narrative of like positivity, or, you know what I'm saying, seeking a relationship with God, even talk about things in your normal, like things that are more positive, or even like talking about things in your normal life, I don't think it's any more preachy than what's already out there, is what I'm getting at.
So you kind of see that, like, anybody in any capacity who's just like telling you a story of their life, like that is very similar to like talking about God, because he's a big part of your life.
100%. And also too, like, I just feel like it's all like, I think people get preachiness like confused with like just the delivery of the person. If they don't like the way a person's voice sound or how they come off, then say that. You know what I mean? Like, then say what it is. Because I can name a lot of people that I'm like, all right, like,
yeah, not for me.
This, like, okay, yes, this is what I would call preachy. Like, like, oh, you're going to hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of like vibe. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't try to bring that at all. I don't condemn nobody to hell. I don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in. But like, yeah, it's just I'm very passionate about what I believe in, and also like, I'm a human though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna talk about my love life. I'm gonna talk about things that's going on in my life, my insecurities, this is my baby. You know what I mean? So it's just so many nuances to it. But yeah, I think that's from this misconception for sure.
Yeah, I think that's well said. I think a lot of people, and I mean, I'm not like particularly religious, so like I could see where they're coming from this, but I think a lot of people will like look at people who talk about religion a lot as preachy, maybe because they don't quite know the place that it holds in their lives.
Yeah. It could be a state of like, oh, like I just don't know, like it's just out of ignorance.
Yeah, for sure. But I think like it's very obvious that I think like anybody who's even not religious in their music, they're talking about their own life. They're talking about their purpose, things they do on a day-to-day basis, things that are happening within their life. And I think as long as they're going about it in the human way that you just described, I think it's fine, no matter what you're talking about.
That's literally just be a person, bro.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of artists in the space, sometimes they'll take religion and tokenize it and not be a human anymore? Like to the point where like, well, all they'll talk about is just like, you know, just like religious tropes and things like that.
Yeah, just like, I just feel like, you know,
like stop being a human almost.
Yeah, like, and God is he'll transform you. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen it for myself. You know what I'm saying? He's done it for me. But I feel like some people get so like, it's like there's no other personality to them, or like they can't take a joke, or they can't whatever. God calls us to be people. You know what I mean? We're meant to reach people. We're meant to be kind to one another. We're meant to help one another, and just share the love of Christ. Like, God is love. You know what I mean? So when you're acting outside of love, like that's not, you know what I mean? That's not what you know what I mean? That's a important thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
it's all about balance. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about On Way to Church a little bit, because I know that song was like a huge moment for you. I didn't know this till this morning when I was like re-looking through your Instagram, but that song was like decently old when it kind of went, right? Like it was a couple months old. It
came out in March,
and then it kind of went crazy in April. Okay, so it already been out for a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Was it that one video that kind of sparked everything for that song?
Literally, I dropped a song called Godly Woman. It was like my first official song in like taking this direction narratively with my music, right? It was performing a little better than my other songs. I saw that the girls were rocking with it, whatever, but that was it. Shout out D-Lo. This is actually funny. He told me, he was like, hey brother, like I think like in 30 days that Godly Woman song about to blow up. I was like, for real? We was at this like crab spot at the time, the seafood spot. I was like, for real? He was like, yeah brother, man, like it's going crazy. All right. And I was like,
what was he seeing? Just like the way the analytics were
just
trending?
The way it was just going, and the way like it kept circling around, like, and essentially it was circling around a friend group and stuff. So I was like, all right, for sure. But 30 days later, that's when I came out On My Way to Church though. And like, that song was doing better than any other song I put out, but like it was like, okay, like I got a couple hundred streams, cool. But wasn't until the music video, bro. The music video, everything opened after that. Like,
interesting.
Yeah.
So it was just that that clip of you with the mic, right? The video. Mm-hmm. That kind of like when did you first have the signs that was gonna go pretty viral? Like, was that like right off rip? It just started going.
Actually, the way that came about, bro, was you know Isaiah Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So shout out Icy Red. He works a lot with Isaiah, and like he actually kind of gave me the idea for the On My Way to Church video.
Nice.
And it was inspired from Isaiah's Florida Baby song. And like when Florida Baby was starting to pop off, like he did that same format. The mic down, he had a car in the back, a couple homies in the back, it's sunny outside, and he's just rapping, singing. He basically like, he sent me a couple artists. I looked at the Isaiah Falls thing. He was like, bro, like try to translate this in some way, rinse and repeat. Like he was kind of teaching me the games of how to social media market.
Yeah,
bro. After that, like I literally, like when I see, like when I eventually meet him, I got to tell him thank you, because bro, that's when I started to see everything shift, bro. And it was a slow burn. I was at work just watching how my video was just jumping like thousands of views every hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think why that format's so dynamic too and so effective is that like you're really playing like the foreground and the background there. It's like in kind of the foreground you have like you as the main character kind of towards the camera rapping. In the back you have this like group of people that you can kind of see but also kind of not, and it just kind of gives like multiple dynamics. I think it's like so many things to look at, you know?
I had someone tell me on my somebody tell me on my TikTok comments that it looks like a Tyler Perry film. I think that's one of my favorite comments I've gotten about that.
Yeah.
And that I look like a Tyler Perry villain. So I think that I coined that fit, the Martin Luther King fit. The
Martin Luther King fit.
Because the outfit I had, the suit, and I literally looked like I was born into segregation, man. So it was a fun moment, bro. It was a lot going on with the video, even though it was such a simple video that just it just fit, man. It
makes a lot of sense that you mentioned the intention behind your stuff, because I feel like your marketing is super intentional, which I really love and I really respect, and I think it's one of my favorite things about your brand as an artist. It's like, yeah, but like with every song and every project, like all the visuals behind everything feel very intentional, whether it's like all the tennis coach stuff, or whether it's like the glasses stuff, or the stuff with the mic, or even your cover, your album cover felt like a very clear choice for like an intro project, like a first project as an
with the red background.
With the red background, and it's just like you, like it's a very very framed up, like you take up the whole frame of that cover.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think is really cool, because it definitely feels like here's Josh P, like take it as you will, which I think is really sick. Doing all the visuals for everything. I know you said you met a bunch of videographers as you kind of like made your way through Sacramento, and like eventually branched down here and like just met people through music. How big of a part of the process of all the visual stuff are you? Are you there kind of creative directing it all, and like, putting the ideas out there? Like
almost every video I've made, like I've had a hand in on the idea. Like I'm a very like, I think a lot, like when it comes to videos, bro. Like I directed all of On My Way to Church, the where I want the people to be at, the outfit, the coloring, all that, you know what I mean? Like, hey, go back and make this like colorful. Because I was I kind of want my stuff to like, even like, okay, even with Young and Restless, right, the EP, it's red. That's one of my favorite colors, but also too, when someone sees something that's red, it immediately catches their eye. Like, immediately. So I like bright colors, I like bold colors, I like things that like pop and make people like, it looks fun, it looks like, wow, I want to look at this, it looks really bright, it looks great, vibrancy, that's super important to me.
I feel like it's so vital to also experiment with different kinds of content, right? Which I think you're doing in a very, really, very, very smart way. Like
I'm definitely experimenting right now.
Yeah, because you're going from like skits to like different TikToks, and you'll do like a horizontal video, and then you'll do like a vertical video. I think that's something that a lot of artists can take from, because I do feel like, and I talk about this a lot, but I really hate the music industry perspective that one size fits all, because it's really, really
so
different.
Nuanced, bro.
Yeah, it's very nuanced. Like every single audience is going to react very different to every single thing. So it's like you kind of just have to try to like figure out like what works for my audience and what works for my niche, and like what things am I doing that, like, bring me the attention that I think I need. I think it can be really easy to just kind of fit the post 3 TikToks a day and post them at this time, and it's like, fit into that very specific guidelines of like whatever the internet's telling you that you should do. But in reality, I don't think there's any way to cookie cutter this stuff. You have to like figure out what works for you, what is most tailored to your audience.
It's all dependent on what you're doing. Everything, bro. It's so nuanced.
What kind of sparked those skits? Because I really liked how you've been doing like those for a couple different songs now. I really thought the one with the glasses made me laugh a lot. I thought that was really funny. Also, the one in the elevator was hilarious too.
Yes, sir. My cousin Cameron is an actor.
Cool.
And he because of him, and also I just love movies too. Love superhero movies. I love comedy. I love all type of stuff. I've always wanted to act.
Yeah.
So like the skits is me kind of like projecting what I always wanted to do. And just like I have this one skit where I was a tennis trainer. Like I was like a trainer. I had everybody doing push-ups and whatever. I love that. And I feel like I just love building people into this world of Josh B. I feel like it's a great way for me to translate to my audience, man, and making it as cinematic as possible, make it feel like, bro, I'd love to see this as a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always, one day I do want to make like a show like about me. Like, it sounds like I'm full of myself. That's okay. But yeah, I love doing skits, bro. I feel like it just breaks the ice. And I feel like it also makes people excited for like a song or a project.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm never abandoning those, bro. I love them.
And your personality, I think, really shines through on them.
Thank you.
Which I think can be really hard sometimes to get people with just your music. If you're just dropping songs and releasing music videos, I think it can become very difficult to have people realize, like, who is Josh P as a person, which I think is very, very important. So I think when you kind of bring the element of those skits in, even though you're playing a character, they can at least tell or infer something about your personality based on the way you're writing these scripts. So I think it definitely allows people into your world a bit more as well.
And also, too, I've just been like, even outside of like skits and stuff, just posting like me being goofy or like just regular stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm a normal person. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, exactly. That makes perfect sense. I think also like one thing that's cool about like starting with the skits for every single song too is it still gives you room to go back and like make the music video or make the TikTok. It just gives each song like a longer lifespan, right?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, that's something I believe in a lot, and I think you're good about that too. It's like, if you really believe in a song, it doesn't matter how old it is. You should go back and promote it. Like, you should always be like giving everything that you believe in as much legs as you possibly can.
Because you put time into it, bro. Like, I saw like what Tyler, the creator, said, bro. You just gonna post it on your story, bro. Yeah, bro. Go back, post it, make it a main post, bro. Reels, TikTok, whatever, bro. Put your foot in it, bro. What?
Yeah, like stand on it.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Paco, and he has a really cool perspective on this. He always talks about like how I guess I have two cool anecdotes about this. But my friend Paco, when I had him on the podcast, he was talking about how like, why would you make a song just to post it one time and then not like post it on your story every single day and send it to everybody you know? Like, it's so much effort to do all this. You're already putting yourself out there. You're already risking embarrassment. Why don't you just go all in? Same thing with like an album. I think an album's an even bigger case of it. Like, why would you spend that much time on a project?
Yeah, money. It costs.
Yeah.
It costs.
Like, all that time, all that money, you're paying producers, you're paying for the studio. Like, all these things are very expensive and take a lot of time to get. Why would you do all that just to post a project once and not put your whole heart into promoting it?
100%.
And it's interesting. I think a lot of people who like really, really care about the music can really, really perceive the new age of marketing, whether that be on the internet, through TikToks or through Reels or through anything, music video skits or whatever. A lot of those people can be very judgmental of that off rip because they really, really just truly care about the art, which I understand. But I think it's really important to shift your mindset into trying to accept whatever the next thing is. It's kind of like an adapt or die thing, Like, you just either have to do it or there's no way people are going to find your stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it can be difficult, I feel like, bro. One thing that I feel like it's really, really cool about your music, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and I was curious about asking about your trajectory in rapping specifically, because I feel like there's a lot of discipline to be recognized within your music, in the sense that like you are very clearly a very, very talented lyricist, but I think a lot of times you're never rapping. You're never overwriting a track, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is something that's really important that a lot of younger rappers can learn from. I think a lot of people with ability like yourself just go on and they try to make the most lyrical, spiritual shit in the world, and they don't they don't really like fully think about how that's coming across, how it sounds, the flows, the rhythms, the delivery with everything. And I think sometimes those aspects are very, very big and deciding factors about who makes a rapper enjoyable to listen to or not enjoyable to listen to.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
For real,
so I just want to ask, with your writing specifically, like, what was kind of your pipeline in terms of like how you got to the place where you are now in terms of your pen game? Like, did it take a lot of learning? Like, has your process changed? It feels like to me that you're a writer and not really much of a freestyler. Is that true?
Oh yeah, for sure. Some of my best stuff comes from just like I accidentally stumbled upon it during freestyling, but for sure writing. I'm a big minimalist guy, if that makes sense. Like, I'm a big, even if like I have background vocals or something, I love creating moments in a song. That makes sense, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there is only a background vocal here, but it just because for me, I'll be hearing parts of the song that I just love. I'll skip to just hear that part or like whatever, but I just love not overdoing stuff, bro. Like, I love being intentional on what I'm trying to get across, and you're gonna take it as that, bro. Like, simple as that. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. And if you think it's too short, that's great. You're gonna keep listening to it.
Yeah.
And when I feel like something needs to be longer, I'll make it that. But yeah, like I'm just super intentional with my time and the listener's time. So I want my stuff to be as infectious and replayable as possible. And I just try to write from the heart, and also like compact it to where it's like digestible. Yeah. And I'm also, like we talked about earlier, falling in love with process. So over time, I'll start to unfold more and more about my life, more and more about myself, and some of those will call for longer tracks. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna make a track longer than what it needs to be.
It takes a lot of discipline, I think, to like do that, because I think a lot of people would just do it for the sake of doing it. When they're, when like the song doesn't necessarily call for it. I mean, I think about this with musicians a lot, like instrumentalists. Like I think some of the best players I know at a lot of different instruments are those who are the most disciplined with their instrument, understand their setting within a band. Like, I think
play your role, bro. Yeah. Just on top of that too, you ever hear a song that like you feel like they're dragging it, like they're like, all right, bro, we get it, like, or like they'll say a hook so many times, or they're rapping or singing. It's like, all right, bro, like we hear you, bro, like we understand. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just big on that, and I just want to get my point across. Take it how you want to take it.
Do you think that took a long time to develop as a writer? Like, how? I mean, I imagine they're super different, but like, what do you think are the biggest things that you've learned from the first times you started making music towards now in terms of your writing? Like, was it a very slow burn in terms of figuring out what you wanted to say and how you wanted to say it, and what your sound was kind of like?
It took a little minute to build my sound. Like, again, I sound the most Josh P now, because like I'm a big production guy. Like, I think production also affects how you attract a track as well. Of course, yeah. You know what I mean? If a track sounds like a Drake record, you're probably most likely going to sound like Drake. Yeah. Or like X, Y, and Z. Anyway, what was the question?
I was talking about the biggest lessons that you've learned from when you began writing till now.
Yeah. Biggest lessons probably is like, to be honest though, like I feel like I'm learning, like, okay, I learned the punch-in method, like pretty like as I just started to go along. Help me get through things faster. I've been learning also to like write my stuff before I come in, so that way like I could just get more recording done. Yeah. And like some people, like I still write in the studio too, but it just saves with more time because I love being efficient with my time. Yeah, it's cheaper too. Cheaper, and also too like on the aspect of creativity though, I feel like I was always set on I don't like saying too much. I don't like doing too much. I want to be intentional and leave that impact. And you know what I'm saying? If you want to come back to it, that's what you want to do.
Yeah. That I think it makes a lot of sense. It's like better to not overstay your welcome.
Like, you ever listen to a song that's 4 minutes, but I like when you utilize the time. Yeah. Like there are songs I can name that have like utilized the 3, 4, even 5. bro, even longer, because a lot of gospels, like traditional gospel songs, are like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. But like they utilize the time and the song feels full and there's a sense of going somewhere compared to like a lot of like huge modern tracks. Like if they were to be 4 minutes, I'm like, I already know you're not going to be talking about nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to prove that this is worth listening to 4 minutes for or whatever. So I'm just I was always set on, we're going to utilize this time and we're going to make an impression. So I think that always carried with me, and it translates now in my current music.
That sense of movement, I think, is incredibly important.
Yeah.
I think like having a song be written in a structure that's dynamic enough to kind of allow your listener to feel like something's coming next. That's so big, bro. Yeah. I think sometimes that's the kind of thing that a listener wouldn't even be able to like identify they're being impacted by.
Yeah.
But like it's a gigantic thing, just writing a track dynamically to where like like the bridge feels like the bridge, and they feel like they're waiting for it, and like the pre-chorus feels like the pre-chorus. I think it's really important to play with structure and not just kind of fall into the whole A-B thing.
100%.
It's like figuring out how to write things that are more dynamic and like allow you to kind of wait for more. That whole buildup is massive.
Yes, sir.
Do you take a lot of influence from like early gospel music and stuff? All the stuff you grew up on?
For sure, bro. Like just the way the hooks are, the way, but also just like general music in general, like R&B, pop, all types of stuff. I love infectious and catchy things. I love soulful things. That's why the soulful part is probably the most I take from gospel, because I mean, gospel is the root of all music, bro. Like, bro, everything that like we have sparked from that, bro. Because it's like, why do you think like gospel music can be translated into so many different genres? You know what I mean? So that soul aspect I always try to bring, and yeah, it's definitely an influence.
Is that a lot of the stuff you grew up on?
For sure. All the like the 90s, 2000s type stuff, like the Fred Hammonds, CeCe Winans, Dinah McClurkin, Ty Tribbett, Kirk Franklin, obviously. All types of stuff. Christian rap was a very new concept to me. I didn't even know that it was a real thing until later.
Yeah. And I think it, like, I feel like when I was growing up, the only Christian rap I knew was very clearly like a joke.
Oh, for sure.
Like the vast majority of it was not like people like genuinely.
It was
serious.
Really cringe. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very like God, like I love God, like
God, Jesus, angels, demons.
Yeah, things like that. Like it was never like somebody genuinely being honest about how they feel. Yeah. That's interesting. I feel like you get a lot of bad actors in that space for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Which I think is bad because it gives like, I don't know, people like you who are genuinely just rapping about something they like deeply care about, kind of a sort of, I don't know, bad rap and like bad impression amongst people who are not religious like myself. You know? Yeah. Do you like in terms of I was talking to Booyar about this and I'm really curious about it. He was talking to me about how like small the more industry side of Christian rap is. Like if you kind of begin to navigate that world at all, and like I can only imagine how much everybody knows everybody within the Christian rap space. Like have you realized things about kind of like the more Christian rap side of the music industry that you didn't know prior to getting involved with it?
I feel like I'm still learning. I do know in general though, all of this is just a business. Yeah. So like in terms of like all the industry stuff, anything that involves money, contracts, all that, it's still a business. It's really actually no different from the secular. Like, because again, you're trying to make sales, you're trying to make whatever. I feel like that's what I learned in terms of like, label negotiations and things that was told to me and all that. But I feel like I'm still, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Like still finding the differences?
Yeah, I'm still like, because I'm very fresh in it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Circling back to your writing, I wanted to ask a bit about like when you feel most motivated to write, because a lot of the concepts you write about are religious things, but you also talk about like, like all kinds of different stuff in your music, whether it's your upbringing or your love life or things like that. Are you the kind of writer as a rapper that feels the most motivated directly after an experience? Like, do you feel most motivated to go write after you experience something in real life? Or are you the kind of rapper that just like you'll be at work or whatever and something comes into your brain and you jot it down in your phone? Like,
that's a lot of my experiences. A lot of my biggest songs came from when I was at work or I was just doing whatever. And also I look back on my experiences too. And also what really motivates me more than anything is a really good beat, bro. Give me a great beat, bro, and it'll break any type of writer's block I got, for sure.
Do you experience that a lot, writer's block?
Sometimes. Well, I feel like I break it pretty easily. Like I kind of learned to stop doubting myself. So like I just know I'm like I know something's gonna come out of this. Like or if it's a beat that I keep listening to, but like nothing's coming out, I'm like I know something's gonna come out of this. Like I've been listening to this. Like I had a song called Diego. I had that beat for like 3 months.
I love that song. Yeah.
I had the beat alone for 3 months. I had no lyrics. Like I was still just like listening. Wasn't until like when it came time to drop, I just peer pressured myself to write something like at work and then get a studio session that same night. And that's what happened.
And you're just like, whatever, I'm gonna try it, and it worked.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think you have to do that. I think there's a I don't know, like. I guess I understand where this comes from, but at the same time, I don't know if I agree with it. I do feel like there's a bit of a perception within art that everything has to breathe and everything has to take time, and art always has to take time, which I think there is validity to that for sure.
Yeah, but
like,
you also
need to put the work in.
You should also. I remember J. Cole said like, you know, like make yourself right like all the time.
Yeah.
Like he would like have these repetitions of just writing or like whatever like I have to write a song every day or whatever. I don't approach it with that mindset, but I for sure like approach with the mindset of, okay, if I like something about this beat, we're gonna get a song out of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna be what it is, and we gonna do better the next time.
Yeah. I mean, I think you also have to write through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff.
Oh, for sure, bro. Yeah. Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I love critique, but I don't like an overabundance of it. Like if it's in the studio or it's too many opinions or whatever, because sometimes things have to be made, bro.
Yes.
I don't know, like that makes sense, but like you said, in order to get a really great song, sometimes you gotta make some mid stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Like you have to, just so you can like
get it out.
Yeah, you gotta get it out, bro. You can say some bars that are like never again, or like, bro, you have to. So.
Yeah, and that's not to say the mid stuff has to come out, but I think it has to be worked through in order to find the great bits within it.
100%.
You know, nothing is great on its first iteration. It's very rare that you can just like spit out a song in 5 minutes and you know, whatever comes out remains the same as how you first spat it out.
Facts.
I think a lot of the times the best things are like flash in the pan ideas that then, you know, you go back and you perfect and you correct.
Literally.
But you kind of have to get to the bad ideas to get to the good ones.
Literally.
You know? Yeah, I mean, it just depends. But when you're in the studio, you mentioned that like it can be difficult to kind of like handle that criticism. Are you somebody who records alone mostly? Will kind of just be you and the engineer?
To be honest, I be having people. Usually it's just me and the engineer. But I'm also like, if I do have people, I'm very selective. When there's too much people talking or too much, oh, you know what you should do? I ain't trying to hear that, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm not trying to hear that. Like, oh, bro, I think you should. No. Like, because I didn't ask for it. You know what I mean? I'm 100%. I don't think I'm bad with taking, because, I mean, like, that's how I got here. You know what I mean? I get critiqued. I literally send my music to the harshest critics but I want it. You know what I mean? So I want to get corrected. But just unwarranted, like, bro, you know what would be so cool? Hey, add this. Or, hey, chill. Like, go sit down somewhere. Like, go whatever. Or if it's like, if I'm recording and it's too many sidebar conversations, I ain't trying to hear none of that. Like, respectfully, just go outside, go whatever. If you're gonna be in here though, like, if I'm recording, let's dead it. You know what I mean? Let's record. So I'm all for critique, just when it's warranted. Like, if I'm in the process of something, and also too, I feel like I'm very open. Like, when I want something, I'm not afraid to ask. I'll be like, hey bro, what do you think? Okay, what are your thoughts on this? That's when you know what I mean? Don't like every 2 seconds, hey bro, but hey, chill. Like, relax.
I also think, like, I mean, I think I've come to think about this differently over the years, but I think I used to be like almost like violently open to opinion. Like,
it starts to sway your judgment. Don't do that.
That's how I feel too. Like, I think I used to be very conscious of like not wanting any, you know, like wanting to hear everybody out, and I think you should hear everybody out, but at the same time, like, I think I have been very hardened by all my failures, in the sense that, like, I think I've learned, you know, I've gained a very good sense of like what I want this to be and like what I think it is and like the things that I understand. And I think like I think I certainly listen to less people's opinions than I used to, and I don't think that's for the worse. I actually think it's for the better.
It's for the best. I learned that now, bro. If I listen to a couple people, bro, there's a couple individuals that told me, like, bro, like, you shouldn't put out this EP, bro. It's too early. It's too this, that, and the third. or like, oh, this sounds too strong as like an intro. I was like, bruh, like, respectfully, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is a moment in time. I gotta put this out, bro.
Yeah, if they're within it, like I think if they're within it with you, then I think those are the opinions that you take. You know, you take very seriously.
It's hard. I can't take seriously opinions from people that like never been where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like if you don't work in where I'm at, or like you never had this level of pressure or whatever. A lot of time, like unless I ask you, your opinion is a lot of times very invalid, and I say that in the most humble way possible, not trying to be arrogant or I'm better than you, but it's just knowing your place. It's like, it's like a fireman like telling an astronaut how to do his job.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, bro, you ain't been to space, like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's not even particularly their fault. It's just like they've never had that experience.
Literally,
you know. So there's not really anything for them to compare it to.
Literally,
and that can be difficult because I think everybody thinks they're an artist. I think everybody thinks like they know what to say, they know what to do. But I also think like.
You gotta have boundaries with that, bro.
I mean, I think experience trumps everything. I think like having that experience in the studio or writing or like really failing, I think you learn the most from failures for sure.
100%.
What have been like the biggest failures that you've kind of gone through in the first couple years of you like really, really trying to do this? Like what have been the hardest points and how'd you break out of them?
I think like the fear of like people looking at me like I'm corny or like I'm trash and all that. You're going to have songs that don't perform as well as the last.
Yeah.
I think that's just having a career. But learning how to bounce back, I've been pivoting a lot, changing my circle, changing who I work with, changing how I post things or whatever. I'm just been really grateful to God and like, you know, like contentment is the key to life. So like I've just been content with where I'm at while also like striving for more. So, honestly, like I just kind of looked at every failure or like every misstep as like I know God is gonna redirect me. So I feel like I've just been okay. Like any slip up or something, I go to rectify it. If I done someone wrong, I go to fix it with them or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I mean you ain't gonna like I ain't gonna say I know I'm wrong because I'm also very self-conscious. I'm not gonna do something wrong to you or like say something and I didn't mean it or whatever. And then just let it go unchecked. Like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
that's self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just being a person. But, yeah, I honestly just been trusting God and just was like, hey, no failure has been the end of... ever since I looked at, like my failure doesn't mean the end of the world, I kind of just stopped looking at things like, oh, I failed. Like, it was just like, dang, okay, well, never again. Or,
that's huge.
Okay, maybe not that. All right. Maybe let's do this next time.
That's huge, bro. I always think about it like, did you ever play like platform games growing up, and you would get to a checkpoint halfway through the map?
Yeah.
Like you know, like whatever game it was, but you get to the checkpoint, and then when you die, you don't go back to the beginning. You just go back to like that checkpoint. Yep. I think about it like that a lot. Where I think
saves your progress.
Yeah, and people are not open enough to being humbled.
Yeah.
I think like you need to fail. I think you need to figure it out.
Builds character, bro.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think like, I mean, not only does it build character, but it's just like as long as you're learning in the correct way, you should never be making the same failure twice.
Yep.
So it's like the more times you fail, the less things you have to fail about. You just continue growing because every single mistake becomes something that you can't do again.
100%, yeah.
So it's like you just learn with every single thing, you know? It's like eventually you get to this place where it's like every single mistake that you've, could potentially make, you've already made.
Facts.
So it's just, you begin moving in a different way. I also think like there's a lot of value to what you just said in terms of like reframing your mindset and your idea of success. I mean, like I think everybody who works in any creative field for the first like couple years, they're like, I'm gonna be Kendrick, like I'm gonna be massive, I'm gonna do this, and then it's about
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly. It's about reframing your mindset to get to this place where it's like, no, like I just want to do this every single day. Like, and I'm happy like that.
Also, though, it's also accepting sometimes it won't happen when you want to.
Yeah.
Some things take time. Look at someone like, this is a separate field, but look at someone like a Samuel L. Jackson, right? He had a late blooming career. You know what I mean? Morgan Freeman, or like, or a lot of your favorite big artists and all that, they didn't start popping until they were like 30 or like whatever. Like, so again, just falling in love with that process aspect and just accepting like, sometimes like it won't happen when I want to, but as long as you're persistent, and always open to learn, you always have an open mind, you'll never lose, bro.
And 30 feels really old in the context of an artist, but it's not, bro.
I think I read recently that I think your brain just at that time, like, it's like
fully
developed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. It's. I mean, like, think about it. Because the way things are moving, like, we're probably gonna live till 100. So it's like, 100 or 90 at least. So it's like, if things keep going in that direction, like 30 is 1/3 of the way.
Bro, you don't know nothing at
30% through your life.
And if you think you know something, you got a ton more to learn, bro. And I'm talking like I'm 30, but I'm like, I already know that because I hear that a lot. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so much to learn, man.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah, I just turned 21 on March 10th.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
What do you have any like older people in your life that have taught you a lot of lessons? Like, what do you think are the biggest things you learned from some of your mentors?
Don't act like you know everything.
Damn, you're 21, dude. That's so young. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my pops, he up there, man. We haven't always seen eye to eye, but man, my respect for him is always there.
That's cool.
He instilled in me the morals I have and the way I move, even in the business. He never worked in the music business, but all the things he taught me is what I translated over now. You know what I mean? Treating people with respect, confronting things when I need to, you know what I mean? Also in a respectful manner, not in a disrespectful
Certainly, manner. Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah, and also just like, I don't know, just be a stand-up person, man. I think that's one thing about me, bro. I feel like I've always had like older folk around me. And also too, like, learning, like, sometimes older folk might get too ahead of themselves and they think they know what they're talking about in a certain field. And sometimes, like, it's just appreciating what they say, but also respectfully not taking it because you know that won't whatever. But yeah, I definitely had and still do have like a good like foundation of people that are like older than me, that are more experienced than me, or like just had something before me that I could pull from. Yeah.
It's kind of like listen to everybody, but take advice from few.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think like it is very valuable to hear everything out, but I think like you need to kind of be laser focused and like know yourself so intensely that like what is or is not right for you. I think it's very easy to decipher whether or not somebody should be giving you advice based on like what they do, where they've been, their place in advice. I think you should listen to everybody, but I think having those older folks that you like really, really trust, whether it's a mentor or a parent or whatever, that I think is that's priceless to me. I think it takes a long time to get those though. Talking about your live show a bit, as you've kind of, and I know you said you grew up playing in the church as a drummer. Being an instrumentalist, kind of going into this environment where now you're playing live with the band. I was curious about the growing pains of that because I mean, like I saw some videos of your band and stuff. Like they sound really, really, really good. How did you kind of go about growing that band out and then also like translating your songs that I assume were produced more so in the box, more so on the computer in a DAW? How did you go about translating those to the live session or to the live the live setting? And was that difficult?
No, because I always created with my music with the intention of there's one day I'm gonna have a band play this, or even if it's like a college marching band or something. I want my stuff to be as easily to translate as possible. And the band I put together was just my friends. And I'm friends with a lot more musicians now. And it was literally like it happened within 3 weeks before the show. Like it was the very last minute. And it came together beautifully. They also play in church too, so they pick up things super quick.
Yeah, bro. It made rehearsal crazy.
Bro, it made rehearsal like 10 times quicker. I barely had to even rehearse a song. Mainly all we did was practice was our transitions and the flow of the songs. But yeah, in short, no, it wasn't hard at all to translate because I write with the intention of performing.
That makes sense. Yeah, bro, kids that grew up playing in the church are so good.
It's a cheat code.
They're always so good because they just play these 3-hour-long sets like once a week. It's like literally the equivalent to how the Beatles played that one club like every single week for years and years and years.
It's cheat code.
It's a full cheat code because you're like, it's literally like 2 hours of music they have memorized. It's like, that is so wildly, it's like the best practice in the world. As like a reader and also just as like a player, like you're just learning on like difficulty level 100, you know? Mm-hmm. Did you, when did you kind of stop playing in the church, or do you still do it and you still play drums regularly? And did that kind of help as you began to translate into, you know, your stuff into a band setting?
I try to play drums when I can. I don't play for churches anymore. Because I've been doing music, so my focus completely shifted. But yeah, I never lost the ability to play. When I see a drum set, I get excited. You know, it's a point of interest. You know, if I see someone have drum sets, or like, oh, you play drums, like I'm always excited about drums. So whenever I can, I try to play. But yeah, in short, I don't just be playing like that, because I'm mainly recording. So.
Yeah, that makes sense, bro.
Yeah.
I saw you mention that when you put out the EP, you didn't really know you were gonna package all these songs together until a few months prior, and then I know you said,
yeah, like literally, yeah.
What? I was curious why. Was it because you saw you know, like all your streaming numbers were kind of like going in one direction. You thought the momentum was smart to capitalize on. Why did you kind of have to, you know, decide on a dime to kind of switch and go into EP mode? And did that leave a lot of tracks off it that you would have liked on it?
Yeah. So like with the EP, I agree. I definitely saw like just how the songs were trending. I didn't know I was making an EP until like maybe 2 months before.
Yeah.
Like it was time to come out. So I was like, okay, I should do something with this. And I always had the name Young and Restless in mind. And I feel like it translated perfectly with this. And shout out my boy Ty. We built such we built such a cohesive sound across all these songs. He produced like majority of my catalog. So like I already knew if I put these songs together, it'll sound like it's a body of work. So it was a cheat code. All I did, I took like a good handful, like a good majority actually, of like some of my top streaming songs. I put them together, and then I just recorded a couple new joints, smacking them all together. I had 10 songs. I probably shouldn't have clapped like that. My bad.
You're good.
Smashed them together, and then boom, had an EP. I'm so glad I followed my gut. That was like one of the best decisions I made, because I'm like, bro, like, people love it, you know what I mean? And like now it builds that interest of like, I don't want to just like, yes, 100%. If you're a new artist, you need to be dropping singles, bro. Do not be thinking about no album, no nothing. Like you need to be thinking about a project. Like you need to be thinking about singles first, because singles is number one. They're like individual streams of income. Number one, and number two, it's consistent. When say like you dropped a single in January, and then you dropped one in February, people are like, oh, shoot, like, I keep seeing this guy. You know what I mean? So it's like a own sense of like, hey, it's me. You know what I mean? So I think it was like, I wanted to prove that I'm not just that, though. Like, and I dropped it at the end of the year because I love Thanksgiving time. I love Christmas time. And it's the least congested time. Nobody's dropping during that time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm able to garner as much focus towards the EP as possible. And that's what happened from there. And like, bro, it's been streaming crazy. People love it, bro. And like next show I do, I'm naming it after the project. So
nice.
Yeah.
Was that was that like, what do you think is the biggest lesson you learned from dropping it? Is it like everything you kind of described, where you were kind of learning that like, I don't know, like the grandiosity of the project is only determined on like how much you actually care about that? Like, what do you think are the biggest lessons you learned from putting the album out?
Definitely paying attention to your audience, number one. Not to be that guy, but like people say it's not about numbers, but also there's an aspect where it is.
Sure,
like looking at the numbers of how your stuff is performing. And like I looked at it at an analytical aspect and also a cohesiveness aspect. And there's a couple songs I left off, but I only left them off because they weren't as big as some of the other songs.
Yeah.
But like they also would have fit sonically, and also again like how we were talking about earlier of not wanting to do too much.
Yeah.
If I would have tried to package too many songs where I was like, because I got comments where people were like, oh, what about this song though? This was tough. Or what about this? Da-da-da. It would have made it too bloated. Yeah. I hate bloated projects.
100%, dude.
Bro, there was a. I think we're just now trying to phase out of it, but there was like a era of music where people were like, specifically rappers, we're dropping deluxe albums.
Yeah. Oh
every
my God,
single
bro.
every chance. Like the album can barely breathe, and there's like 30 more songs.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Here's
like,
the 4th voice memo demo that I did. It's like no one cares.
You're just trying, and I get it though, because the more tracks, the more bread. Because I mean that's the most bread I'm making right now is from the project. You know what I mean? But like 10 is my favorite number. I kept it short and sweet. 10 tracks. Some is already, some is some new stuff.
Yeah.
And also it's for the people that never heard of me.
Yeah.
So best of all 3.
Yeah, that makes sense, bro. Yeah, well, it's a great album. I really love the cohesion of it. I think it's very concise in a good way. Like I said, like I think you have a very big and really important knack, I think, for like only leaving the shit on there that you think you're gonna stick with.
And I sectioned it off very intentionally. Yeah. The first half is very rap heavy. Mm-hmm. I'm covering my love life stuff. I got like an intro kind of like reflecting and also just kind of like popping my chest out. I got like my anthemic records, stuff like that. And then from that point down until On My Way, like I have On My Way to Church as the last record because like for my fans, everyone pretty much knows that song. You know what I mean? And there's people that never heard of it, so that's why it's there. But it doesn't need like as much emphasis as the other ones.
Of course.
So the second half of the project is really just like my melodic joints, my worship records. I have a song called "Don't You Cry," which was literally the unexpected like breakout song from the thing. Yeah. And it's like one of my biggest songs right now. It really connected on TikTok, and it's a very like almost Winter Wonderland-esque feel.
It's a lot slower. Yeah.
Very whimsical. Yeah, that's
what's up, man. Well, I'm happy the project's out in the world, bro.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Josh P, man. Thanks for sitting down with me. This is really cool. I think it's really interesting to kind of get into your world more, since it's not one that I'm like super familiar with.
Yes, sir.
I think it's cool to kind of like learn more about your universe, and I really love the mission you kind of have of like taking some of the more secular sides of hip hop and kind of connecting them with the more Christian sides of hip hop. I think that's really cool, and I think that's a beautiful thing for both parties,
Bro, thank you, man. I appreciate your interest and just like willing to hear me out, bro, and I appreciate you even just bringing me on, bro.
Of course, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, always, bro. Tell them where they can get your music, where they can follow you, where they can do everything.
Man, it's your boy Josh P. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I sound like I'm making a YouTube intro. But for real,
what's up, guys?
Josh P. You can find Josh, like literally JOSH and then P. You know what I mean? You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, whatever. Wherever you can find me, I'm there. YouTube, all that. And then on Instagram, you can type in Josh P or Josh P from CA, and I'll come right up, man. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, Josh P. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Music matters.
Yes, sir.